If you're one of the many dedicated folks working in public service, you probably get up every day wanting to make things better for Canadians, right?
Absolutely, that's the driving force.
But have you ever stopped to think about how these new digital tools, well, how they're changing not just how we do things, but maybe what's even possible in making that difference?
That's exactly what we're digging into today, this whole deep dive. It's really about exploring how this digital world is, reshaping government services right here in Canada.
Okay. And to help us sort of unpack this, we're looking at a really interesting video from the Canadian School of Public Service. It's called Transforming Government Services for the Digital Era, Digital as a New Medium of Government.
hmm And it features David Eaves. He's a professor over at University College London. He's got some really insightful takes on this.
Right. So our mission today really is to break down what this whole digital government thing actually means for you, the public servant.
Yeah, and maybe highlight how you can use these digital tools to better connect with Canadians and really meet their needs today, their expectations.
Expectations, exactly. Let's get into that because one of the first things that really jumped out at me from what David Eaves was saying, it actually came from Tom Loosemore.
From the UK's GDS.
Right. He basically said digital government is about meeting the higher expectations citizens have now. And that just clicks, doesn't it, when you think about your own online life?
It really does. I mean, think about it. Your everyday interactions online, they've kind of raised the bar, haven't they?
They.
Ordering something and tracking it minute by minute or, managing your entire bank account on an app. It's seamless.
Yeah, that becomes the baseline.
Exactly. That seamlessness is the new normal. And that's the expectation citizens bring when they interact with government services.
Right. We're just used to things being quick, easy, right there. So when people need something from the government, they're kind of hoping for that same feeling.
Which has really pushed government to rethink delivery
Yeah.
massively.
It feels like it.
I mean, we've moved through stages. You had the in-person stuff primarily.
Yeah.
Then came the phone lines, those 1-800 numbers.
Uh-huh. A big step then.
A huge step. And now the internet, this massive new platform.
Yeah.
And initially, the approach was often just, well, take what we already do and put it online.
Like, here's the paper form, but now it's a PDF you can type into.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
the digital version of the paper process.
Yeah.
It's a start, but
But it doesn't really unlock what's different about being online, does it?
Mhm.
And this is where I think it gets really interesting. David Eaves pushes us to ask, well, deeper questions.
Mhm.
Like, how can services actually change because they're digital? Not just look digital, but be fundamentally different.
And maybe even more critical, how do we rethink all the internal processes? The machinery of government itself.
Yeah.
Because this touches on something really fundamental. For centuries, government was organized around paper. The paper document was the basic unit of information. Our departments, our structures, the whole bureaucracy. It grew up around managing and sharing paper. Think about like old library card catalogs, everything physical.
It's kind of wild to think our modern systems are still, in some ways, built on that paper foundation.
It is. But that also points to the huge opportunity now with digital, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What's exciting is the chance to move past those physical limits. Digital lets us share information in totally new ways, much more efficiently.
So it's not just about efficiency.
Well, it enables efficiency, but it could mean completely rethinking what a service is for a citizen, how it's delivered. We're not just making a form digital. We could be reimagining the whole interaction.
Okay, that's a much bigger idea. And this term, digital government, it's not like it just sprang up last year, is it? It has a history.
That's such a crucial point, yeah. If you zoom out, digital government, in a way, started back in the 50s and 60s.
Really? With the first computers?
Exactly. When computers first entered government. But back then, it was mainly for back-end stuff. Processing census data, automating payroll, things like that. Internal focus.
Right, making the government engine run a bit smoother, but behind the scenes. Hidden away.
Precisely. For decades, that was the focus, automating the back office. It was only really in the last, say, 10 to 20 years, maybe a bit more,
Okay.
that the push has been towards using technology to directly deliver services to citizens.
Ah, so that part is relatively new.
It is. And that's why, as David Eaves points out, it can feel quite new and sometimes challenging for public servants today, because it is a big shift in how things have traditionally been done.
Okay, let me try and recap that timeline then. So 200 years building government systems around paper.
Roughly.
And maybe 50 years using computers mainly for internal back office automation.
making existing processes faster.
And only now, really in the last decade or two, are we seriously grappling with using digital to directly serve Canadians.
That's a great summary. In that context, it really helps understand the moment we're in.
It does, because if you connect that long history to the work you're doing right now, day to day in public service, well, the challenges you might be facing, they're part of this huge long-term transformation.
Exactly. You're right at this pivotal point in how government actually interacts with the people it serves. It's a significant moment.
That feels like a more, I don't know, empowering way to look at it. It's not just about dealing with the latest tech trend.
Not at all. It's an evolution.
Yeah.
And the core driver, like we said, is meeting those changing citizen expectations. People are just used to smooth digital experiences elsewhere.
So the opportunity then for public servants listening.
The opportunity is huge. It's a chance to be right at the forefront of rethinking how services are delivered, and not just the delivery, but also how the internal workings, the processes, can be improved to support that better service.
And it's so crucial to remember, isn't it, that this isn't just about, taking the old paper way and putting it on a website.
No, it's about fundamentally reimagining what's possible when you start with digital tools from the get-go.
What could a service look like if we designed it today for today's world?
That's the key question, isn't it, for everyone listening?
Yeah.
How can you, in your role, contribute to that shift? Thinking about things like simplicity, ease of use. Is this actually meeting the citizen's need effectively, putting the user, the citizen, right at the center of the design?
So, okay, if we're wrapping things up, the big takeaway from this deep dive seems to be that digital government isn't just about websites and apps.
Not at all. It's much deeper.
Sure.
It's a fundamental change in how government operates, really, trying to meet those evolving expectations of Canadians in this digital era.
Right. A new medium, like the video title says.
Exactly. And maybe a thought to leave people with is this. Think about how that long history, that reliance on paper as the basic building block, how has that shaped the structures we work within today? And then how does this digital era give us this unique chance to build something different? A public service that's maybe more efficient, sure, but also more fundamentally citizen-centric.
Focused on the people.
Focused on the people. Maybe just consider one small thing in your daily work. Is there one small way you could apply this perspective to make an interaction just a little bit easier or clearer or more helpful for a citizen?
That's a great practical challenge. And just to mention, for anyone who wants to explore this more, the Canadian School of Public Service does have that video series and related course we drew from today. Might be worth checking out.
Definitely some good resources there if you want to go deeper.